Alrighty, Assalamu alaikum, and welcome to our June installment of the Muslimat Collective Self-Alignment Session. I will be your host today, Salima Shaheed, and we'll go ahead and introduce our other panelists who are joining us live on Zoom right now. But if you are joining us on Facebook or YouTube, feel free to let us know, comment in the chat your name and where you are tuning in from. So again, my name is Salima and I am tuning in from Houston. So would our other guests would like to introduce themselves?
Hi, didn't know if I was a guest or not.
You are.
Okay. Hi, I'm Jonquil, and I am right outside of Houston in Richmond, Texas. I'm very happy and pleased to be here.
Welcome.
Assalamu alaikum. I am Farida, and I am tuning in from St. Louis, Missouri.
Oh, she said you can't, hold on. She says you can't hear me. Can you all hear me? Okay, let's see. Okay, that might not be on my end. I'm not sure where, if you could, she can't text me. We won't worry about it. So we'll go ahead and open up with dua, and then we'll jump into the program, inshallah. So we're going to open up with Al-Fatiha. I will say it in Arabic, and then I will translate in English. So, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Ameen. And the translation is, we seek refuge from Shaitan the rejected, with the name of God, the most gracious, most merciful. All praise is due to God, Lord of the worlds, the most gracious, the most merciful, master of the day of judgment. It is you we worship, and upon you we call for help. Guide us the straight path, the path of those who you have blessed, not of those against whom there is anger, nor those who are misguided. Ameen. And we always open up with prayer because we believe that we have nothing except by what God gives us, and so we have to ask for it. And so that's why we open up with prayer. Okay, so our topic today, I'm excited about it. We are excited about money. We're not always excited about how we manage it, but I'm excited that we get the opportunity to learn about that in this discussion. So before we jump into our presentation from our presenter, I want to ask our audience, so here in Zoom, and feel free, and those who are joining us in Facebook, on Facebook and YouTube, to kind of tell us, as an icebreaker, is budgeting important to you? And if so, why? Brief answer, but just what are your thoughts, or what is your relationship with financial management and personal budgeting? And so feel free, if you're in the chat and here on Zoom, to type on our whiteboard, how do you feel about budgeting? I'm trying to get my annotation to work. Oh, here it is. Okay, well, let me write. Okay. All right, I'm the slow one today. I can't. figure out how to type on my board. Okay, well, I'll just answer it. I think we had, Farida, did you want to share yours? Or?
Oh yeah, I was saying I think it is less important than it should be. Like, I understand that it should be super important. It still doesn't make me very good at it, and it still doesn't help me prioritize it in the way that I understand that I should.
Yeah, mine is that I get that is important, and I do like to plan, but I think my relationship with planning and budgeting as well is like I like to create the charts, but then when it's time to like fill them in and stick to it, I'm not as good at that. But I do like the idea of planning it out, and this is what I'm going to spend, and this is how I'm going to do it. And yeah, it looks all pretty. And it's just like, oh, I'm excited. And then, yeah, so. But hopefully, inshallah, our Lord willing, our speaker today will kind of help us, navigate that a little bit better so that we find it to be important, we find it to be super useful, and we stick to it and find benefit in it, Lord willing. So before we jump into our presentation, I just want to give a brief background on the organization that's bringing this program to you. So we are Muslimat Collective. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization based in Houston, Texas. We have been in operation as a group since 2016, but we became a nonprofit organization in 2019, I believe. We are an organization that seeks as our main mission to create and to cultivate community amongst women. And what we seek to cultivate in terms of community is social spaces, so more of on the fun side and engagement, personal interaction side of things. Looking to create spaces that are safe, that are private for women. So sorry men, no men allowed, but that are fun, that are safe, that are engaging, that are relevant. So that we can come together more and support each other and help one another. We have several programs. So this program, the self-alignment session, is offered every other month. And it is designed to speak to issues relevant to women. So we've done physical activity, we've done mental health, we've done deep breathing and meditation strategies, we've done skincare. So anything that's relevant to the lives of women, and what the ultimate goal is to give women tools to improve themselves in those areas, because we're always striving to become the best versions of ourselves, however we define that. So that's the self-alignment session. And then we have a monthly game night. We haven't had it in 2021 yet because of circumstances here in Texas. The first one was supposed to be during the winter storm. And so it just hasn't happened yet, but hopefully we'll be able to bring that back. But what it is again, it's every other month just activity where we play virtual games, just kind of really talking and getting to know one another and having fun. And they usually are a pretty good time. So we hope to bring those back in the near future. We do a sisters only iftar during Ramadan. So that's the month that we fast for 30 days. So we come together, we end our fast for the day, we talk, we share, we break bread together, and it's a good time. And so we hope to bring that back again post-COVID in 2022, Lord willing. And then our marquee event is our Beyond the Veil fashion show, which we have been doing since 2017. And we just had our last show in December of 2020. And it's an all-women fashion show that celebrates femininity, celebrates fashion, modest fashion, designer fashion, and bringing women together, women businesses, So there is commerce, there is connection. Women come from all over Houston and even outside of Houston to share space and fashion and all things beauty and things like that. So it's a really good time. And we look forward to it coming back in 2021. Inshallah, it's an annual event. So those are the main programs that Muslim Collective have currently. Like I said, we are a very young organization made up of all volunteers, so there are no paid staff, but we do this based off of out of love for our sisters and love for community. So if you are interested in learning more about Muslim Collective, please follow, subscribe to us on social media. We are on Facebook and Instagram at Muslim Collective. You can find us on YouTube. We will post the links to those in the chat. So please go to them, subscribe, so that way you get updated information on our next events and programs so that you can participate. And lastly, I'll say we are a 501c3 nonprofit organization. So we do accept donations to help us continue these programs. They don't happen for free. And we don't we depend on donations in order to be able to do that. And so you can donate on our website at www.muslimatcollective.com. Although it is under construction right now, there are other ways: Zelle, PayPal, CashApp at $Muslim Collective. All of these are tax deductible donations that you can file on your taxes, and those links to that information is also in the chat. So if you would please drop us a few coins, we would appreciate it as we continue to try to bring relevant programming to you, our community. So with that, I'll stop there, and we'll go ahead and jump into the reason why we're here today. So our presentation today is called Making a Financial Plan and Sticking to It. And our presenter is Jonquil Bass, who is an outstanding educator. She's been teaching since 2007. She is a proud mother of 4 and a U.S. Army veteran. Her passion for community building and teaching financial literacy has inspired her to create community tax and financial services, which is her business. Jonquil has had the pleasure of assisting several small business owners and entrepreneurs with budgeting, credit repair, business management, and a host of other financial services. Her vision is to help families create generational wealth, shifting from the idea of just surviving to financially thriving. So with that, I will turn it over to our guest speaker, Jonquil. Take it away.
Well, thank you so much, Salima. Thank you for the warm introduction, and welcome everyone. Thank you all for taking time out of your day to be here with us as I share just a small bit of information as it relates to budgeting, as it relates to finances. I'm going on and share my screen so that way I don't take too much of your time. I was multitasking. Let's see here. All right. And can you all see my screen?
Yes.
All right. Awesome. All right. So my presentation today is making a financial plan and sticking to it. Breaking free from the stress of living paycheck to paycheck. Here are a couple of things that I'm going to share with you guys throughout this short presentation, a bit about my story, on tips you should do today, how I can help you, and then we'll leave some time for a question and answer Q&A. So this question was already posed: why is budgeting important to you? So as I'm going through discussing information that I have when it comes to budgeting, think about that question for yourself. Why is budgeting important to you? What can budgeting actually do for you? Is it the idea of having the American dream of owning your own home? Are you tired of living paycheck to paycheck? Is it that Are you using credit cards to make ends meet? Are you stressed over money and you're tired of being stressed over money? Is it causing you and your significant other, your husband, are y'all fussing over money, which again, then causes stress for your situation, for your relationship? And are you just tired of being broke? If you've answered yes to any of those questions, then what I have to share here is very beneficial, will help you definitely with surpassing and getting the right answers to those questions. So here is a statistic that many do not know. Only 32% of Americans actually have a working budget, and 68% do not. So that's a lot. So if we had 100 people, of those 100 people, only 32 of those Americans actually have a budget, and they're actually working that budget. And then of those who have a budget, 79% of those Americans have a difficult time sticking to it. So if you are one of those, you do have a budget, but you are finding it difficult to maintain, to stick to that budget, you're not alone. It is something that is hard to stick to. It's hard to be consistent with it. So here we have some overspenders. We have those who, what we call your show-off climbers. They want to have the latest and greatest when it comes to the cars, when it comes to the houses, the name brand things. You have here the generous Santa when it comes to any type of gift giving time, if it's Eid, if it's for birthdays, whatever it may be, they want to be the one who gives the biggest and best or the most dollars when it comes to giving out things. That expert card swiper, they swipe that card really easily with no issues. And then those who have to go over and find those discounts. You know, it's a discount, so I gotta buy it. I gotta buy 10 of them because it's on sale. Now, when it comes to couples who argue, top reasons for money clashes, and if you look at the 4 or the 5 different reasons there why couples argue, you'll see that overspending, 41.3%, saving too much, 37%, helping relatives is a little less than 33%, being secretive, 25%, and then investment choices, 22%. But the number one reason why couples argue as it relates to money is that overspending. Here's some additional budget pitfalls. I can't get my words out right. Spending what you don't have. You have more bills than money actually coming in. You're not sure where your money actually went. You know you're getting paid, you have money coming into your account, but then a couple of days later or a week later, you have no clue, you have no idea where your money went. And then not being prepared for unexpected expenses. Well, here's a bit about my story. Here is a picture of me and my family several years ago. Those of you all who are familiar with Houston, we were right in front of where the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo took place. Now, this past, 2 seasons, if I remember correctly, we haven't had the rodeo due to COVID, but this was something that we visited on a regular basis every year for several years. I was a teacher, or am a teacher, and then my husband at the time was also a teacher. We drove modest cars. We had 4 children, and the 4 children were or are in extracurricular activities. So regular, normal family. However, we had an issue, okay? Here's what we brought home a year, about $110,000 per year. So on paper, this looks like a pretty good situation, right? However, we had a few things going on. We had a huge problem. We were broke. Now, how is it we were broke? Very good question. We were living paycheck to paycheck. We had no clue at all where our money was going, but you let my husband there tell it was going on. I was spending my money on eating out, which I didn't think that was an issue for me, but that was a problem. Once I actually looked at the bank statements there, I had a huge problem with eating out. We had poor credit and very little to no savings at all. We had a lot of problems, and we desperately knew something had to change. And our pivotal moment there, again, bringing back that whole idea of being at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, CJ, my oldest son, and then his dad, Micah, they were there at the show. And with my husband's job there at the time, he was a teacher, and he was an ag teacher where he had to show animals. The students had to show animals and different wood projects and things that they were presenting for competition. And they also had a carnival where the kids can go and have fun. It was a huge event, an expensive event, but it was a huge fun event. And at this particular rodeo this year, due to our lack of budgeting, due to our spending and not having a clue where our money was going, there was no money available for CJ to go on the carnival rides. There was not even money available for CJ to go and purchase a turkey leg there at the Livestock Show and Rodeo. When that moment happened, and just thinking about the amount of money that we were on paper bringing into the household, we knew we had to do something different. So what did we actually do? We watched videos. So we started researching because we knew we could not remain in that situation for too much longer. We watched videos, we read books. It was trial and error, just us trying to figure out, find things for us to do. Now, we finally were able to create a system that actually worked. And if you recall, we were the ones with poor credit. We were living paycheck to paycheck. We had no clue at all where our money was going, and we had little to no savings. But once our system was in place, the trajectory of our financial state was up. We were no longer living paycheck to paycheck. We were no longer watching the calendar, counting days until the next payday. Stress over money was no longer an issue. We knew exactly where our money was going. We took family trips without being dependent on credit cards, and our credit improved. So this was one of our vacations in Colorado of 2018. We had a fun time. And because of the way we budgeted our money, being able to stick to the budget for the most part, we have, of course, those moments where we kind of fell off a bit, but we were able to fund this trip. It was all cash. We did not have to depend on or use credit cards. We were in Colorado, and with a family of 6, we didn't drive because me and driving, we don't get along. We were actually able to get on an airplane. Once we landed in Denver, Colorado, we were able to rent a van, and we drove to the different places in Colorado that we wanted to visit. And again, that was due to our budgeting that we were extremely intentional about. We knew summer of 2018, this was a goal of ours. And the greatest accomplishment, the one that solidified the idea that we knew we did the right thing, was that within 6 months of us starting the whole budgeting idea, making a plan for our money, we were approved for our home in just 6 months. Now, what anyone can do, if we did this, you guys can definitely do this as well. We put our budget system in place. If anyone puts in a budget, whatever their financial goals are, they will also meet those goals as long as they do their best to maintain that budget. So here are 4 things you can do today, right now at this point, where you'll get immediate results. So budget tip number 1 is create a plan for your money before you actually get paid. Don't wait until you get paid. Actually make a plan for your money before it gets paid, before you get paid, before it hits your bank account. Already have a plan. And the plan is simple as writing out your expenses on a sheet of paper, writing out those things that you anticipate spending money on, and then those things that may or may not come up, but just to have that kind of, I guess, nest egg, if you will, or just in case fund, have those things written out. That's a budget. Simple as that. A savings tip that I want to give you guys is pay yourself first. Don't pay all your bills and then what you have left over, you then say, okay, this is what I'm going to use to survive for the next 2 weeks. No, you didn't start working, or you're not working just so that you can pay bills. I remember growing up and hearing my mom say that all the time. No, you are working to have a lifestyle, or to maintain the lifestyle that you want for your family, that you have for your family. So pay yourself first before you start paying the expense, before you start paying the bills. The next tip I want to provide is a credit tip. So to improve your credit, pay those items that you do have on credit. If you do have things on credit, pay those things twice a month. Don't just pay them once a month. When you pay them twice a month, you're actually able to get those things paid off a lot faster, which then helps you decrease the amount of interest that you're actually having to pay back. And tip number 4, I call it my life tip here, is don't compare yourself to others. I know I had a huge issue with doing that, trying to keep up with the Joneses, if you will. That never works out well. Compare yourself to you and yourself only, not to what someone else has going on, especially if, we're looking at social media, we're paying attention to what friends and family have going on Facebook or on Instagram. People only show us what they want us to see, what they want us to know. So what's being shown, what's being displayed, it may actually be something totally different from what's actually going on. So again, don't compare yourself to others. And this is a video here, a commercial that came out several years ago. And I just remember every time I would see this video or this commercial, I would just laugh. It was the most hilarious thing. But this is what many Americans, unfortunately, are experiencing.
I'm Stanley Johnson. I've got a great family. I've got a 4-bedroom house in a great community. Like my car? It's new. I even belong to the local golf club. How do I do it? I'm in debt up to my eyeballs. I can barely pay my finance charges. Somebody help me. Come to lending.
All right. And let me get back to where I was. Sorry about that. But yes, so that's where many Americans, statistically anyhow, that's where many Americans are. We look good, we have the nice car, we have the nice house, but how much are we in debt having all of those nice things? So establishing a system and maintaining it is hard. Anything worth having is actually challenging. It is difficult. But just like going to the gym or eating right, those things are challenging. But when we stick to going to the gym or working out consistently, when we stick to eating right, choosing to put into our systems, into our bodies, those things that are beneficial for us, shortly after, we actually see the benefit of eating right, of working out, and then in this case, to actually budgeting. And so we all need help, though, at times with working out. That's why you have personal trainers. Or with eating right, that's why you have nutritionists. So if you're at a point where you feel like you have tried your hand at budgeting and it isn't working out, something you're not able to put everything together properly, I'm here to help. I can assist you with that. So here are the next steps. you need help getting your financial state moving in the right direction. And so I know I'm confident I can help, and here's how. I have a budget course. So especially those of you guys who are into DIY type learning, you're okay with just getting onto the computer and going through a program and following the steps in a program. I offer a budget course that will help you guys get on the right track and then maintain that budget. And then I also offer budget coaching. So with my budget course right now, I have a special offer where I'm offering that budget course for just $29. Break free from the stress of living paycheck to paycheck, a personal budgeting online course. And after taking this course, you'll be able to identify and solve your money problems, create and streamline your budget, find and control your excess income, and then live stress-free over money. And as a bonus with this course, you'll have access to over $200 worth of budgeting resources, a goal setting worksheet, a money tracker, budget and cash flow plan, and then a big purchase planning guide. Now, for those of you guys who need more assistance than the do-it-yourself type learning, I also offer budget coaching. With the budget coaching, was offered at $4.99, but a special offer at just $2.49. And of course, I have payment plans available. And with this budget coaching program, I offer 6 one-hour bi-weekly coach-led step-by-step planning calls. The self-paced course is also included with the coaching, weekly email communication correspondence, access to my private Facebook group, a personalized success roadmap, personalized money tracker, budget plan, goal setting assessment, and also the cash management envelope system, so that if swiping that card is one of the issues you have, then we talk about how you can use cash to help you maintain your budget. So again, those budget pitfalls: spending what you don't have, more bills than money, not sure where your money went, not prepared for unexpected expenses. If any of these 4 items here, if any of this is familiar, if it rings a bell, if it's causing you to sweat a little bit because there's some truth in any of these, then reach out to me with Community Tax and Financial Services, and we can definitely guide you and get you on the right track. Now, for those of y'all who are here, who are listening, or maybe you're gonna watch this, you're watching this at a later date, I do have a special gift, and it is our Community Tax and Financial Services Money Tracker. So if you text me between now and the end of this, by the end of this weekend, so I think that's Sunday, June 13th, then you will get this money tracker for free. I'll send you an email where you can access this tracker, and we're going to click on it here so that you can get an idea of what this tracker, the power behind it, what it actually will do for you. When you click on the link, it'll ask you to make a copy. You'll click on that blue link. And what this tracker does, at the bottom here, I have 4 sheets. The very first sheet is the directions. It gives you a breakdown on how you're going to use it. The second sheet here is what I call your constant expenses. So what you're going to do, as the title says, money tracker, you're tracking all of your expenses. Like I talked about a few moments ago at the beginning here of this talk, my husband said that I spent a lot of money on eating out. I was like, no, I don't. You don't know what you're talking about. But then we actually looked at the bank account, the bank statement, and we saw all of my transactions at Chick-fil-A, all of my tacos that I like to eat, plus spending, hundreds of dollars a month on groceries, because of course, feeding a family of 6 is not cheap. We were spending, or I should say I was spending quite a bit of money on food. This money tracker will help you identify where your money is actually going. And one of the great things about this sheet is, as you're putting in your amounts here, let's say rent is $800. As you're putting in these amounts, the total column here will automatically populate. So all of that hard work, those calculations are done for you. So you can indicate of whether it's a once a month expense, or if it's twice a month, whatever it may be. Rent, of course, is not once a week. Oh, we'd be in trouble if it was once a week. There we go, once a month. And then you can put your due date. Let's say you have a car note for $700 and so on. You put down all of your installment loans there. So we have a total of $1,500. Then if you have credit cards, you do the same thing. You put down whatever your credit cards amounts are per month. Again, it's populated. Home utilities, electricity, water, gas, if there's anything else, that's a utility for you. You put those amounts, it'll populate. Any type of insurance that's not already being deducted from your paycheck, you put that down as well. Cable, internet, streaming services. We have Netflix, we have Hulu, we have Disney Plus. All of these streaming services that we have now, this will give you an idea of how much you're actually spending on these streaming services. Memberships, if it's the gym that you maybe go to twice a year, if it's Sam's or Costco's, list those things out as well. Anything that's related to home, your alarm system, if you get your grass cut every so often. I also have this where you can put your groceries, if you have a basic idea of what you spend monthly per groceries, or maybe it's a weekly trip for you every week. So again, you put those amounts there. It populates for you. And then any other expenses that you have, you can put in those amounts. And then if you do have some additional expenses that I don't have listed, where it says other, feel free to delete that and add, I don't know, dog watching or something. Whatever those expenses are, you can add that here, if I can spell correctly. You can add that here. And from the amounts that I've put in, it gave me my total constant expenses, which is the $25.86. When you go on to the next sheet, the fluctuating expenses, okay, this is where you can really see, okay, aside from those things that I have to pay to maintain my household, here's where money, the excess or the extra money is going. Some of y'all may have an Amazon spending problem. Depending on the time of year, I also have that issue, okay? So list out your Amazon expenses. And so this is where you can go on to maybe your online banking through your app, or if you have your bank statements where you can just pull up on your computer for the month, go ahead on and list out what those expenses are. And I put 2 columns here for those expenses, just in case you kind of went to Amazon a lot in a month, you went out and ate out a lot. If it's clothes shopping, retail shopping, going to Target. I know for me, going to Target, I'm spending at least $50 every time I go to Target. Vehicle maintenance, hobbies, on-demand movies, and so on. And again, I have others. So if there's other things that's a fluctuating expense for yourself, again, you can go in and you can make those changes, change those labels, and whatever amounts you put in, it will calculate here for you. Now, the very last worksheet here is what's the outcome. So when you click here, your total monthly income. So let's say your household, you bring home $4,000. So you can type in that amount, and this total constant expenses, this amount comes from that second worksheet, constant expenses that you put in. And then the fluctuating expenses, this amount automatically populates from the third worksheet, the fluctuating expenses. Based off your income and then the expenses from constant and then fluctuating, it tells you what you should have left over for the month. Let's say though, instead of bringing home $4,000, your household, you bring home $3,000. So you can see what that amount is. And if you are bringing home less than what you're actually spending, this block here turns red for you. So you can see immediately that, okay, we have a situation, we have a problem that we need to fix. So again, this worksheet this resource, Google resource here is free of charge. So for anyone who is interested, who would like this, please feel free to text me. Let me get back to my slide where I was. There we go. Feel free to text me at 281-650-7666. If you'll include your email address, I'll shoot over the information that you need in order to access the link. So that way you can use this tracker and you can see exactly where your money is going. And then from there, you can start making the necessary steps so that you can create that budget and then create that plan that you need so that you can have and maintain the lifestyle that you have for you and your family. Well, now I'm at the question and answer time. Do we have any questions? I feel like I did a lot of talking.
No, this was great. This was great. So the floor is open if anyone has any questions we want to ask our presenter. Okay, then I'll start. And so I know in the beginning you talked about when making a budget, you kind of make that budget before you get paid. So you kind of identify like that includes like what your bills are, you know, like your, I guess those what do you call the regular bills, the stationary, you know, the consistent bills that you get every month, like your utilities, living, housing, things like that. And so you kind of, and then budget based off how much you're making, you know, you do that in advance of your paycheck. But when you're putting together this budget document, is this something that you would be doing? So when you're like, going back to the spreadsheet you had, in terms of entering in your expenses, is this something that you like? Do you recommend if somebody does this at the end of the month, or they're doing it as they're spending? Like how do you use that tracker in real time?
Great question. So with that tracker, I would advise you do so maybe at the end of the month. That way you have an idea, okay, we are in June. So let's say I want to know what I spent or how I spent my money in May. So pull up all of your expenses, your bank statements, your app, and just start putting in what you spent for May. That way that'll give you somewhat an idea of what you have to look forward to when it comes to June.
Okay. Okay. So this is a once a month thing. And then if
it could be once a pay period. Let's say you get paid once a week or every 2 weeks. You can do it at the end of each pay period just to get an idea of what your spending habits are for the first of the month versus the 15th of the month, depending on when you get paid.
Okay. Okay. So we have another question, but I think mine's a follow-up, and then I'll ask this one I got through text message. See all different ways that you can send in questions.
Yay.
And so that once a month thing is, so I typically do this like once a year. I do like all of it, and it's really related to taxes. So I keep saying I need to do this more regularly, just because it's just really cumbersome to do like all of your expenses for the year in one sitting. Do you know of any programs or because your tool is great, and I can see how it's really useful, but is there other programs that kind of can do those steps for you, like that'll like look through your statements and kind of do those categorizations for you, for the busy person or the person who just automation is king in order to keep.
Very good question. And one of the resources that comes to mind is Mint. I think that's offered by Intuit, if I'm not mistaken. Mint, of course, they have an app, and many of these budget resources now, because this is such a hot topic for many people nowadays. Mint, I know, is a very good resource for people who want to do exactly what you just said. The idea of having it more automated, where you can just put in whatever that expense is, and it'll break that down for you.
Okay. Awesome. I think I've heard of Mint. So, okay, go ahead.
I don't have a question. I just want to tell you, I wanted to say thank you. And this was very informative. I think a lot of us know that we have to budget. It's just a matter of taking the time to actually do it. You know? And this, I think, is something that's really encouraging me as a reminder that I need to work on my budget.
Well, good. I'm glad it's serving as a reminder. And it was mentioned earlier that, yes, many of us, we know that it's something that we definitely know we should be doing. It's very important. But the idea of sitting down long enough to create the plan and then to keep it going, and especially with everything that's out there that, takes so much of our time, that takes so much of our attention, it is difficult to get going when it comes to a budget.
Yeah.
And I know COVID didn't make it easy, especially with like one of the things, I don't think I touched on it a lot here, but using cash helps a great deal with helping to maintain your budget. But then when COVID came along and we had the so-called coin shortages, I know that caused me to I had to really shift how I went about spending money. I kind of got in a bit of trouble again with swiping my card because it was so easy to do so. But now that, the stores don't seem to have this so-called coin shortage any longer, I'm back to implementing cash on a regular basis. And that's helping to maintain and keep my budget where I need it to be.
And I love that you have, like I said, classes and coaching so that if you are struggling with doing this on your own, that there are resources to, get some additional support to help you navigate this process. So that is really encouraging that resource is available for people. So the other question I had was, what resources or books do you use, financial resources or books do you use, if any? So they use, for example, Dave Ramsey. Are there any books that you would recommend?
Definitely Dave Ramsey. That is what helped us kind of jumpstart our budgeting journey, if you will. Reading Dave Ramsey and implementing some of the things that he suggested in the book is what really jump-started, allowed us to get to where, we were able to, like I said, take those family vacations and just having cash money in our pockets and not having to be worried about, payday. We still got 10 days where we get paid again. We got to eat peanut butter and jelly every day for dinner there. But yeah, anything by Dave Ramsey. He websites now, he has many resources online that are beneficial.
Okay. So our next question is, what do you say is excellent credit? Like how much money, or either how much in actual dollars or percentage of our, I'm assuming, income, should you save monthly?
I think that depends on the person and what their financial goals are. Let's say if it's someone whose goal is maybe to have a down payment to purchase a house, that will be different from somebody who maybe they want to have a nest egg or an emergency fund just set aside. I know one of the very first things that Dave Ramsey teaches in his budgeting program is your goal is to get to $1,000 emergency fund as quickly as possible. So that $1,000, someone who's trying to get to that $1,000, that how they go about getting to that may be different from someone who is trying to save, let's say, $10,000 to purchase or have a down payment to purchase their their first or their next home. So it really depends a lot on what their short-term or long-term financial goal is.
And how often would you recommend people to be making like doing a financial plan? Like, should we be revisiting our budget annually, or how often should we be doing? I know we're doing the tracking once a month or some interval that makes sense, but in terms of, just like you said, planning for those big purchases and things like that, how often should one be doing that?
Very good question. I would suggest every pay period. So if you get paid twice a month, then you're doing this twice a month. And again, before you get paid. So let's say you get paid on the 15th. So maybe the 13th or the 14th, already have a plan of where exactly your money is going to go. So then when that money does hit your account on the 15th, you already know, okay, such and such needs to go to this account. $100 needs to go to my savings account, and so on. It's not I'm spending money as soon as I get it and then trying to make a budget, make a plan based off the money that you have left over that you've already spent, that you probably shouldn't have spent. So, and if you get paid once a week, doing your plan every week. So it just depends. I would suggest doing it however often your family brings in money into the household. That's how often you should be doing the plan. Now, this, of course, is for people who have a regular, consistent paycheck coming in. Now, those of us who are entrepreneurs, of course, this varies. This is a bit different when it comes to that, because every week, every month, the amount of money that you have coming into your household, that will fluctuate, that will vary. But we also have a way to have a handle on that as well.
Okay. So are you talking about from a tracking perspective, like tracking your, money in, money out thing, or, in terms of doing that every pay period? Is that what you're referring to?
No, so I'm referring to the budget, having the budget or the plan for your money. That should be done every pay period.
Wow. Okay. Okay. I'm not intimidated at all by that.
Yeah. But the very first couple of times, we did this, it took some time. It was time consuming. But once we did it that first couple of times, the amount of relief we actually felt when that first paycheck came in, we already had an idea of where the money was going. And as teachers, our paychecks, we're salaried. So we have an idea of what our checks are. I can tell you next year from now what my paycheck is going to be. But to have that idea, that relief of, okay, this is where all the money is going to go. And knowing that I was putting X amount of dollars away in savings accounts, knowing that I was putting X amount of dollars away for our next vacation, it actually got to a point where I was looking forward to getting paid, not because, okay, this is money I had in my pocket, but okay, my plan is already in place and this is going to add to our vacation fund, or this is going to add to the, having 4 children, every birthday parties and all of that. We had a fund set aside for birthday parties so that, spending $300 for a birthday wasn't a huge hit to us, because we already had a plan for that using the budget from, what we had set in place before. So at first it can be, I can see how it is daunting, but once you actually have that plan in place and then you start using it, it's just a huge relief, and you look forward to the paychecks coming.
Thank you. Okay. Next question we have is, what advice would you give to couples that view money differently? As in, one is a spender and one is a saver.
Another great question. I would suggest that the two really have a heart-to-heart, really sit down and maybe talk about first their goals, where they want to be, maybe have a short-term goal or two, and then have a long-term goal, and then realistically coming together to see how they can meet those goals. So maybe the one who's doing the spending, if they actually see, okay, I don't know, by next summer, a year from now, we want to take the family to, I don't know, Disney World. Okay, this is the amount of money that we need to have. So if that spender sees that, okay, this is the goal we have, this is the amount of money that we're anticipating we're needing to spend, then maybe having that written down, having that out, maybe even having a sheet of paper, a picture of Disney World, and then that dollar amount on right underneath Disney World posted on the refrigerator. If the spender sees that, that visual there, maybe that will help kind of slow down some of their spending. Again, if it's a goal that both, the mom and dad or the couple, they have, that they sat down and they discussed together, maybe that'll help slow down the spender there. So setting goals is always important. That's with just about every aspect of life, I think. Maybe setting those goals will help.
Mm-hmm.
Inshallah.
Awesome. Any other questions from other participants? I'm checking online. Let's see if I see any. I don't. I'm still kind of tripping off this pay period budgeting thing. I'm just like, I guess it depends on each individual's, your situation, and because my thing, I'm kind of like an annual planner, so I'm kind of more like okay, these are like my big goals, and like the small steps, because I usually have big goals and then it like overwhelms me. And so I have to like break it down, to smaller steps so it doesn't feel, it feels more obtainable. So I might have like, like vacations or whatever, because, we have, because we live far from family. So for us, minimally, we're going to travel at least twice a year, just going to see family. And so that, that's something that we would kind of budget for, or, having our budget plan at the beginning of the year, because that's kind of a given. COVID changed that, but typically that's, in addition to whatever other, trip or vacation we're going to take. That was at least minimally what we're going to do. So from in that perspective, is more like, okay, these are the broad things we want to do, and then like how do we, work towards that every month.
And so with something like that, so let's say y'all need to spend, I don't know, $1,000 for that trip total, fuel and food and so on. So if in a year from now, $1,000, then divide that $1,000 up by 12. Let's say you get paid once a month, or if it's every 2 weeks or twice a month, that's 24. Divide that 1,000 by 24. So then when you're creating your budget, that every 2 weeks, then I need to put aside, let's say that works out to $100. I need to put aside $100 every 2 weeks so that I can meet that goal of $1,000 for our trip that'll take place, 12 months from now or 6 months from now, whatever that may be.
Okay. Because I think and I know it's better to regularly, to do something with a little more frequency so that you build habits around it. But if I was doing every pay period, we just
but after you start doing it, it does become a habit, and it's like it's nothing after that. It's like you expect it, you're used to it, and before you know it, that 12 months, whatever that time frame is, it'll go by quickly. And then when you look at that bank account that you have set up just for your vacation fund, you'll see that you have your $1,000 or whatever that fund is. And to have that, and knowing that you don't have to rob Peter to pay Paul to take this trip, it's such a wonderful feeling. Such a huge, just like I said, weight off your shoulders to know you already have that fund set aside there for that.
Okay, that makes sense. So last call for any questions. The person who's been sending me the question, she says, okay, Shakran, very valuable information. So,
Alhamdulillah.
and I guess one of my last questions is, so how do, you have your contact information here. Oh, and it's already on the screen. Never mind.
Yes.
I was going to ask, how can somebody get in contact with you? Reading is fundamental. So yes, so please reach out to John Quill and Community Tax and Financial Services to get some additional assistance with financial planning and budgeting. Are there other services that we didn't talk about here that your company offers that you would like to share with our audience?
Yes. So for those small business owners, we also offer bookkeeping services. And then we offer, just as our name says, community tax and financial services, tax preparation. And we specialize with our small businesses completing their taxes, preparing their taxes so that we're able to take advantage of so many of those small business write-offs that allows us to pay less in taxes, which then for the most of us anyhow, ultimately means a larger refund check coming back to us, tax refund.
Yeah, that's always good. And so in terms of the bookkeeping, what does that look like?
So with the bookkeeping, so helping small businesses basically have an understanding of how their money is coming in, so where that money is coming in from, and then how they're spending their money. So they can see, okay, is my business being profitable? Or am I spending too much money on some type of material, whatever it may be for my business, and I need to make some cuts so that I can then move in the direction or start meeting some of the business goals that I have for myself.
Okay, so go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, just a way of keeping up with the finances so that the business owner could then focus on growing the business, marketing the business. We handle the financial aspect of the business.
So you do the bookkeeping. That's
we actually do the bookkeeping.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Sorry, I didn't make that clear. I guess I was in my head.
No, that's okay. I could have just not understood that, but I needed to understand that. So yeah, you and I will talk, inshallah, because
inshallah.
That's the part. Yeah, that's that part.
That's not fun for most business owners doing the bookkeeping. Yes.
Okay. Alhamdulillah. Well, if there are no other questions, we thank you, John Quill. This was a really easily to digest presentation. I know money can get, it can get foggy and people just kind of like, no. But this was really easy to follow, and the resources that you have available, I'm excited to, try some of it out and see how it goes. So thank you so much for being here this evening and sharing this wealth of information with us. We really appreciate it. And again, please follow Community Tax and Financial Services on Facebook and Instagram at Community TFS. Be sure to reach out to John Quill to get your financial questions answered, or to join some of her class and programs. I know as master classes go, and this is really affordable, especially now. Take advantage of those discounts to help with this hugely important process. So we appreciate you joining us. Before you jump off, we do have a brief survey that is being posted in the different chat. So these programs come to you with your help and support. So please, if you could take 5 minutes to fill out our survey to let us know what you thought, if this was helpful, to give us feedback. We actually do take that feedback and use it to help improve what we're doing. We also ask in the survey if you have suggestions for other topics or presenters that you would like to see and hear from, please put that in the survey as well. We do take that feedback. We have used it. We have used feedback from others from previous event and was able to get those speakers and those topics in our in subsequent sessions. So we really do value your feedback. So please, please, please take 5 minutes, fill out that survey. That will be a big help. And again, just as a reminder, please subscribe, follow, like Muslimat Collective on our various social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, so that way you can stay up to date on new activities, events that we have coming up. And I was gonna say something else and I lost my train of thought. Yeah, so just so please follow us so that we you can stay up to date. And then, you know, of course, we love the feedback from what you have experienced. So again, we appreciate you joining us. You could have been anywhere, but you took your time to spend it with us, and we appreciate that. Any other final closing comments, concerns, questions? I don't know when I think our next self-alignment session is in August. Inshallah, and it's usually the third. I think it's the third Saturday of the month. We moved it this week because of Father's Day and Juneteenth being next weekend. So we did move it, but it's typically on, these sessions are on the third Saturday of the month that they're going to be in every other month. So I think August is our next session. So please stay tuned for that. And I think that is, let me go back, check my notes, make sure I said everything I was supposed to. I think so. So with that, this concludes our program. And again, thank you for joining us. And if you missed anything here, feel free to go back on our Facebook page or our YouTube channel, and you can watch it from the beginning so that you can get all the information that you need. And feel free to reach out to us at muslimatcollective@gmail.com if you have any specific questions that you would like, or if you want to, get in contact with the speaker and you can't find the information, we will gladly assist you with that. So with that, enjoy your evening, ladies, and inshallah, we'll see you at the next Muslimat Collective event.